My name is Brienne, and this is my story or struggle with coming to terms or coming out. Um, I came out about, I came out to friends and family almost 10 years ago, and but I knew I was gay from when I was 14, so I knew 14 years ago that I was gay. So I guess I should begin there. I always knew when I was younger that I was different. I didn't know how I was different. I didn't have a word for how I was different, but I always knew that I was different. And I can remember watching the girls in choir at church and being totally infatuated with them. And I just remember as a child, like when they would pat me on the head or give me a hug in Sunday school or summer camp, that I would get really excited, and that's all I would think about is when's the next time the camp counselor is going to, when's the next time that she's going to hug me, or when is the next time that, she's going to say my name. And I just remember never even thinking anything about it at all growing up. It was just normal for me to have those thoughts, and they were innocent. It didn't change until I was 14, and it didn't change except by a weird coincidence kind of thing, kind of like woke me up, I guess you could say. But yeah, so I guess I will just start there at the age of 14 when it went aha, Oprah's aha moment for me. Kind of embarrassed to say this, but Star Trek let me know that I was gay. Star Trek, an episode of Deep Space Nine, actually was what brought to light my ever so gayness. And being in the true fashion of the science fiction fan that I am, how ironic. It was an episode of Deep Space Nine where one of the characters meets somebody from their past. It's like one of their past lives, wives, or whatever, and the character was now female in a different body, and they meet, and oh my gosh, I know it's you. And anyways, it's a girl on girl kiss in Deep Space Nine. I believe it was one of the first, besides Buffy the Vampire Slayer, on television. Anyways, I saw that episode late at night after my parents went to bed, and me and my brother used to watch Star Trek all the time. And I remember seeing that kiss and being like, holy crap, what the hell are these feelings that I'm feeling? Like giddiness and excitedness, and a rush of like adrenaline went through me, but another rush about 5 minutes later went through me, which was, holy shit, you're gay, Batman. So, holy crap, Batman, you are fucking gay. And I was homeschooled my entire life until I went to college, and I did not have a word for being gay. I didn't have a word for how I felt. It was never brought up in conversation. I grew up in the church. I didn't know what being gay was. I had heard the word pushed around several times in the church, and I knew what it was, but I never associated it with myself until that night. And then the walls of my entire life fell. In that moment, I knew everything in my life up to that point had made sense in that moment where it hadn't before. And everything that made sense meant that I was about to lose everything. My family, my friends, my relationship with God. I was 14. My only concept of God was what I had been told in church. So I instantly thought that God hated me, that I was going to hell, that, like my world couldn't exist with who I was, and who I was, I didn't want and couldn't exist with the world that I lived in. It just was not, this was not feasible, and as a result of that inner conflict, I developed a severe eating habit of not eating. So over time, it turned into a disorder. And it wasn't a disorder like I hated myself, or it was a disorder that was completely driven within a reward system. And the reward system was, if you could get through a day or a couple hours without thinking about a girl or looking at a girl, like, I mean, it didn't matter. It was an ad on the television. If I thought in my mind that I had looked at that girl the wrong way, or found that she was attractive, then I would deny myself the next meal, the next snack, the next glass of water. One of my worst weeks is I only ate twice that week. It was easy for me to hide my food disorder in my family because I was the one that did the dishes at night. So I would stay the latest at the dinner table. I would, wipe with my napkin, put my food in my napkin, and make the illusion that I had eaten food. And the flip side of that was, when I got thinner, I got rewarded for being thin. I was told, oh, you're so pretty, blah, blah, which I was like, okay, that made up for a little bit of my feeling guilty because, I felt so crappy about myself everywhere else in my life because of who I was, that these other people saying that I was beautiful on the outside made me feel better. Totally was fucked up in the head. I would chant for hours up in my room. I would chant, please take the gay away, please take the gay away, please take the gay away, just over and over. And I would do it almost like an obsessive compulsive disorder person. I would do it until I felt that I had done it enough to go to sleep. I chanted enough or ran the stairs. That was another thing I did. I ran the stairs. If I had a bad day, I would not eat, and then I would run the stairs at our house, up and down, up and down. I would just put headphones on and just run. And I would run until either my legs gave out, or I would run until I felt worthy enough to stop. And because I was homeschooled, I was able to do this for hours on end. I masked it as being really into health and fitness, and I masked my eating disorder by being the one doing the dishes at night. Which I'm not proud of, but it's the reality. It is what it is, and I wouldn't be the person that I am now if I didn't go through that. So if you see that there's not a lot of guilt on my face, that's why. It's because I've completely come to terms with the person that went through that is the person that made me who I am today, and why I am, in my opinion, a rock when it comes to confrontation about who I am, when it comes to, just because I came to terms eventually with who I was did not mean that the rest of my world did. It has only been within the past few years that me and my mom have been able to remend some bridges that were burned, just because of how I grew up. My parents still, it's kind of, we love you unconditionally, so therefore we will not judge, sort of thing, but it's tolerance, it's not acceptance, but you know what? It's one day at a time. It's a work in progress. It's putting effort into the relationship. It's, putting a personal face to the situation. And it is what it is. And I work at it all the time. Coming out didn't just affect me. It affected my family too. My siblings had fallouts with their friends. Friends weren't allowed to play with them because of who I was. I actually did not come out. I felt the respect for my parents enough to move out of the house before they fully knew that I was. And I let them come to me instead of me being like, hey, mom and dad, I'm gay. I kind of just lived my life and let them figure it out, but I never hid anything from them. So if they asked me a question, then I honestly answered. And it was because of one of their questions that I finally just honestly answered, and then we had that discussion. And then we kind of went like that because my parents had to go through their own grieving process, if that makes sense. So yeah. So there was a lot of years, but it made me who I was. I would not be the person that I am today if I didn't go through it. I know it's super hard, especially if you are really religious or religiously influenced. And I'm here to tell you that God doesn't hate you, and He doesn't make mistakes. And if you think you're a mistake, it's you who thinks you're the mistake. It's not God, and it's not people of God that are telling you that. It's people who are masquerading as Christians or religious people. It's not God. God doesn't make mistakes, and He doesn't give someone more than they can handle. And if you're gay, you are just a little bit stronger than the rest of everybody else, in my opinion. God has called you to be a stronger person. God has called you to light the way for others. God has called you to be an influence and a change. I know He has with me. I know that I have affected people by, just being who I am and not backing down. If you have a problem with me, awesome. Great. We can agree to disagree. Awesome. Let's talk about it. But I also put lines down of what I'm willing to talk about. A lot of times when you come out to people, they want to know everything. They want to know the most intimate details of your life, like the little stuff. And it's like you would never ask them, hey, how do you do it? You would never be like, whoa. You would never ask them that. So you have to, in the beginning, you have to place lines when you come out too. It's not just about coming out. And honestly, like I said, I let my friends and family figure it out. And if they ask me a question, it's honestly because I honestly don't feel like I'm different from anybody. I just have different tastes. So I don't feel the need to announce oh, I'm gay. I don't feel the need to do that. So yeah, that's my coming out story, I guess. If you put comments or questions down below, I will definitely do my best to answer all of them. If you have any, if anybody's even watching this, probably not. But if you do and you have a question, I am completely open to answer questions. And yeah, that's my coming out story. Possibly I'll make another video of going into more depth about the actual depression part of it and the mental recognition and how I made my spiritual life come together with my reality, and my reality blend with my spiritual life, and justification of why God doesn't hate me. And that's more my, I don't know, expertise of it, but it would be way too long of a video to explain all that. So if anybody has any questions about that, of how do I justify being a strong Christian and being a strong gay woman, how do I blend those two worlds together, how have I done it for 10 years, I'd be very happy to discuss that part of my life, because I feel like that's sometimes in our community something that's not really talked about, and I would be happy to talk about that with people. So yeah, and I'll probably post other videos if needed of different stuff. So I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope that this helped you in any way, and I hope that, no matter what you're going through, someone went through it, someone's going through it, and someone made it through. I know I did. Every day is a complete struggle for me. I'm not perfect. My life's not perfect. But it's one day at a time, and that's all you can do. And if your family loves you and they love you unconditionally, then it may just take time for your spiritual life, your family, your life to blend. Anyway, so yeah. Hope you guys have a good day. Talk to you later.